Hi, Leo Drager here. I want to talk to you about the FTK graphics and imaging features. Now, some of the things that are basically an overview or relative to this section is basically working through the software and using some of the graphics tabs. And that's basically going to start right here on this tab here. Also, you should understand the different types of graphic images. One easy way to do that is to look at all of your file extensions and the file extensions associated on your computer. And if you have problems with that, you could easily do a quick Google search and learn how to change your file extensions. But I like to point out here that we're typically working with layers 6 and layer 7, the presentation and application layers of the OSI model. Also, what we can do with these graphic files is we can hash them and create a hash database out of them, and also view them basically as thumbnails. So this overview of this feature here really comes straight out of the the official FTK forensics course. So one of the things we want to do is either open a case or create a new case. So we'll just as easily create a new case. You're going to apply the investigator's name. In this case, I'm just going to use my name. The case number I'm going to use is 54321. The case name is, pornographic images. Okay, and then I'm going to actually create the case path. I'm actually going to store that in a directory that I have called labs, and we'll do a new folder here and we'll call it FTK2. Okay, and then a case description, investigation of pornographic materials called into the help desk. Okay, just something basic, just an overview here. Next, you're going to go look at the agency of their name. So we'll just put, company, the examinator's name. I'm going to put my own name, DREGIR. And I live at 1234 address road. My phone number that I can be reached at is going to be 123-456-7888. The email would be info@thecodeoflearning.com, and no comment. Go ahead and select next. And here you have some case log options, and this is relatively self-explanatory. The case log is a text file named ftk.log in your case folder, and this gets created automatically by FTK and contains a record of all events that occurred during the course of the case. You can choose what types of events you would like to be logged. You can also add your own comments to the log file by selecting Add Case Log Entry under the Tools menu item. So case and evidence events, any sort of error messages, bookmarking, searching events, data carving, which is looking for specific keywords from files, and any sort of other events. You can leave all of this checked, and we'll go ahead and select next. Here, the processes to perform on the case, you're definitely going to want to create your message digests. So they have MD5 and SHA. Whatever one you're using, just check appropriately. You've got your known file filter, which compares hashes of known files against the database. Kind of similar to a dictionary or a rainbow table attack, but more just referencing the integrity of images. You got entropy tests for unknown file types. An entropy test is used to determine whether the file's data is compressed or encrypted, or what kind of contents are in it, or basically what recon you can do on the specific file. Let's just say that you had a file when it was just called file, no file extension or anything. Well, entropy will determine what type of file it actually is. You've got full text indexing. You can store thumbnails. You can decrypt encrypting file system files. You can file listing. This creates a Microsoft Access JET database for indexing the files. You can do an HTML file listing, more data carving options, and you can add in a registry report. You can just leave the defaults here for now, as this is just an overview. Also, you can refine the case, look at default options, you can include specific items, you can check optimize settings, you got email options, text options, and graphic options here. I typically, at this point, just leave all of these at the default, but you can check for things in Slack space and free space and use your known file checker and things like that. So there's also file type criteria which you can add, and you can just leave all of this as the default for now. All right. In order to save time and resources, and in order to make searching more efficient, you can choose to exclude certain types of data from being indexed. So this is specifically is an index option. For now, you can just leave all of this as the default. And then hit the next button, and then you can get to the point where you actually can add evidence, and this is the key to the graphics feature. So we're going to add some evidence here. You can do acquire an image of a drive if you have a specific image, and you can import that image right in here. You can do a local drive if you're analyzing like a USB hard drive or something, or the contents of a folder. And for this demonstration, we're going to do contents of a folder. All right. Well, one of the things that we can do here is we can actually use the CHFI tool list that they have in their forensics toolkit. So it actually contains some images files that we can use. So at the very, very end of the file, you've got all sorts of stuff in here, but I have a directory called porn images, and that's going to be what we're going to relate specifically to the case. Now, I will tell you here that this is going to be a completely G-rated experience here, even though we do have a folder called, porn images or pornographic images. So we're going to go ahead and select pornographic images. It has the location in which they are. You can add an evidence identification number, so this would be consistent with your conventional format. So since my evidence name is 54321, I'm going to do 54321.001 being the first evidence file, and images from folder is what I'll put in the comments, from suspect's hard drive. That way I have at least a little insight as to what this is for. You can also configure time zone information here, but I'm going to leave that as the default for now. So once I have my pornographic images, I can go ahead and click next. And we get a new case wrap-up here that says the case directory where all of this is going to be kept is basically going to be the name in which we called the case, and then pornographic images. And then you can go ahead and hit finish. And it'll take a second, and it will import those cases. Now, one of the features that I like that we actually cover in the official course is you can add the list all descendants. That's kind of like any image from here on out. And the reason why I like this is because you can just select the root of the drive and then see everything on that. So here we have our suspects, quote unquote pornographic images. Okay. So, we can just kind of validate the actual content of them and determine if they were actual, pornographic images or not. So if I found something like this on a user's hard drive, it may indicate that the user had, suspicious, web surfing behavior. But I don't see anything that I would deem, offensive, or that's something that wouldn't slip through the content filter of the organization, right? So these all look relatively harmless. Okay, but let's check out some other features. So one of the things you can do with graphics to just do your background on this is these options right in here. Okay, so you can actually view the file. There's this little, pink filter here, and I like this button because this goes through and just gives you any text that it could extrapolate from the image. So for example, you can see here that this was created in Adobe Photoshop CS2. The format, or if it's Adobe CM related, so this is clearly an Adobe file, and I would just go through here and then look for any sort of text or XML or anything that would kind of get me the idea of what is this file realistically. And then we'll pick another image. We'll look at the text of the file. If there's any text, we can look at the hexadecimal information. So you can see that this is a PNG file, at least so it suggests in the header. You can don't view the files. You can turn that completely off, or you can view them in Internet Explorer directly from within here. So these are realistically all of the elements of a graphic case and how you would import them into the case file. Again, I showed you a little bit of how to identify the graphic formats, how to use the graphic tab here within this application, and you can even export all of these files if you want. Now, they're already stored in your case, but you can certainly export them if you want. You could tag them. You could just look at the thumbnails up here, etc., etc., etc. And so that's how we would basically get a case going and evaluate specific images in our investigations. So thank you for all of the awesome comments. Don't forget, at the end of the course, you can get your badge of completion. These are great for continuing education credits. My name is Leo Drager, and I will see you and continue the discussion on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter.